football questions? It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, Thursday and Friday mornings this fall here on Braves Country Radio.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Good morning. How the hell is everybody? How are you, Bobby? Been a long time.
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to talk about the NFL. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, it's hard to believe that it's already here, man, as hot as it is outside. I don't know what you got dealing with in Tennessee, but, man, it is hotter than Cootie Brown here in Florida, man.
It's the same up here, man. It's gotten a little bit better, but, man, when it was up in, like, the mid-90s, it was terrible.
I want to slap the hell out of you right now.
I know that's nothing
mid-90s.
for you. I know that's nothing for you, but, man.
We call that October around here. Man, we got a lot to get into today. This is the first one of the season. I'll get the I'll eventually have to figure out my my cameras and everything. But what we're doing here on this one is we are going to be talking the NFL, and we're talking mainly spreads, and we are going to be in here on Thursdays from 9 a.m. Eastern, and it's going to last. We're going to keep it under an hour. First of all, Bobby's got to get to work. I got to get places, but we're going to try to keep it short and sweet. Today what we're doing is we are talking about the AFC South, the NFC South. We're going to talk about over-unders, and this is a strictly betting show. This is what we're going to be talking about. We're not going to be bitching about, some third down decision that the coach made back on Sunday. We're going to be talking about how can you make the best of your bucks. Now, obviously, we're going to be getting into player props during the season. Not very likely to be doing a whole lot of this during the preseason because it's kind of stupid to bet on preseason football, especially when we're talking about player props, because you never know how long a guy's going to play. But when we're talking about regular season, this is going to be about player props. This is going to be about covering the spread, over, unders, you name it. And what we're going to give you is we are going to give you a set of picks every week. I think we're probably going to do a 4-pack of tall boys as opposed to the 6-pack to keep it a little more concise. We will give you other options that may not be a part of our picks of the week, but then also, and we might do 6-packs. It really depends on how these things go. If we do 6-packs, we'll definitely incorporate all of our player props. So that's probably the way to go. But as I'm thinking this out loud, when we're doing these, we're also going to give you a lock. We're going to give you a lock, and that's our best one. Last year, I got the numbers up here. I did pretty well. You can see. So what you see in the green is it. So Bobby won the stupid underdog. We'll explain that when we get to the season. It's a really fun contest we do. The locks. I won the locks. I won the 6-packs. I did make quite a few more picks than everybody else because I was doing several different picks. But all in all, kind of a down year as far as on the picks, but I felt like when you look at the actual locks themselves, they weren't terrible. Bobby and Doug were right there under 500. I went 9-5, but once again, Bobby made up for it on stupid underdogs. And essentially, when you're talking about stupid underdogs, you're talking about teams that you can take on the money line to win outright. That's what we're essentially what we're doing. And so if you are a country club member, you're going to be able to watch the show live. We're doing Thursdays at 9 a.m. Eastern. Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern is going to be the college football show. All right, with that being said, if you're a country club member, you can watch it live. You can ask your questions. If you are not a country club member, then you can catch the show after we release it to the public later on the morning of the show. But if you want to be able to ask your questions, fantasy football advice, the whole 9 yards, and we're going to get into fantasy football as well. That's what we're doing today. Just want to give a quick synopsis. I'll probably do it again tomorrow, but after that, we're going to hit the ground running. All right, Bobby. So when we're talking about the National Football League, and I think we'll do the fantasy segment as the last segment, but when we're talking about the National Football League, and we'll have true segments when the season gets going, but we're kind of playing this by ear. we're going into the. I think it'd be smart for us to start off with the NFC South, considering this is Atlanta Braves country radio. That's where the Falcons are at, and get an idea of where we're going to be for 2025. And by the way, tonight you do have some preseason games. There's 3 of them. You got Colts and Ravens on the NFL Network, Bengals and Eagles, and I believe that's just locally. And then there's a doubleheader tonight, Raiders and Seahawks NFL Network. Now, are you can sit around and watch pretend football? Some people will, some people won't. I'm not going to beat you up if that's what you're going to do. Not going to beat you up if you're not going to watch it. But it is out there, and it's a full slate of NFL preseason this weekend. The Falcons, who we're about to talk about, are at home against the Lions on Friday night. Friday night, you have 3 games. You have the Lions and Falcons, Browns and Panthers, which is on NFL Network, and then Commanders and Patriots. And then Saturday is everybody else I didn't mention. They are playing on Saturday except for the Dolphins, Bears, Saints, and Chargers. They play Sunday. And that is an NFL doubleheader, 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. I'm a little surprised they didn't do a night game, but that's what they decided to go with. Okay. First one on the docket. Where do you want to start off with here on the NFL stuff? You want to do the Falcons first, or?
Yeah, we can start off with the Falcons, considering we're a show based in Atlanta.
And now that I remember this, I think I have to put the echo. Were you hearing an echo back when you were talking?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Anytime you hear that,
I can't hear it anymore.
Anytime you hear that, remind me, because when I do the play-by-play shows, I have to have it off or it sounds wonky. Why the hell that is, you'd think it'd be one just creeping, but if I have someone in studio, I have to take the audio off. So and John says the echo is fixed. No one mentions it. They just mention it after I fix it.
I didn't know if it was just on my end.
Say no, just tell me, because if you can hear it, it's a problem.
You got it.
And I actually messed with it this morning, forgetting that I have to have it on echo. Anyways, long story short, let's get into it. And John says it is fixed. All right. Now, John, I can't see the calendar from here, but I think we do the AFC East the last week before football begins. So right before, so we're doing the South this week, and we're doing a division each time on the Thursday that starts the season. And I'm going to have to change this a little bit because I realized what I did. The trophy league that we do, which is the free league, that's the morning that we're going to do the draft.
Okay.
And if you can't stay for the whole draft, I get it. Just draft off your phone. I'll do it through the end. But that'll be the draft for all the members and whatnot, and they can come in here live and draft. Usually have a lot of fun. John won it last year. We're getting I just got the word that we're getting the plate made, so we're going to put that on the trophy and show it that day. It's a big trophy. It's kind of like our version of the Stanley Cup, but you play for the right to have your name stamped on there forever, and it never comes off. So take that for what it is, but it's basically bragging rights. It's I rule, you all suck, and that's the way it goes. All right. Falcons.
Yes, sir.
What is the big takeaway for you coming into this season with the Atlanta Falcons? Kirk Cousins, backup quarterback, ? Or does he get traded? What?
Yeah. I know the contract situation with Kirk Cousins, paying that much for what looks to be a backup quarterback right now doesn't seem ideal.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I do like the upside that the Falcons have in terms of, they have Michael Penix. If the season starts off slow, if he looks pretty rough to get things going, they have Kirk Cousins to fall back on, who I've never been a huge Kirk Cousins fan, especially in his Minnesota days. I was kind of on the contrary to most people. I didn't think he was all that good, but he's a veteran quarterback with lots of experience, and he's still around a league average quarterback. So if things don't start off great for the Falcons with Penix at the helm, falling back on Kirk Cousins isn't bad at all. So I like where they're at. And in terms of the betting line, I don't know what you saw them at. I had them at 7.5 was the line. That was
Yeah,
closest to even.
I probably should mention that as we start. I'm just assuming we all see the same line.
Yeah.
I'm taking mine off of covers.com. That way
Okay.
it's not skewed by the Florida betting app, Carolina, Tennessee, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I've got it off. What I have is a minus 140 for the over and a plus 110 for the under. So for folks who may be new to football betting, what that means is you're getting plus money if you bet the under, which means they think in all likelihood they probably go and get the 8th win. So if you take the under, you're gonna. So what the plus 110 means? Really easy. You bet $100, you win 110. If you take the 140, you have to bet $140 to win 100, and that's the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah.
7.5, and I'm going to hit you with the schedule real quick, and
Sure.
we'll do these pretty quickly. I'm not going to sit here and just go over and over an entire schedule, but to get it started out real quick, because this is the Atlanta Falcons, we'll probably do this with the Titans and the Jaguars, but the rest will just kind of skate through. You've got Tampa Bay, obviously a division. I'll tell you what, I'll take the divisions out of it.
Sure.
We all know who they're going to play in the division: Tampa Bay, Carolina, and the Saints. They're going to play 6 games, home and home. They do start the season off with Tampa Bay, but they are at Minnesota, at home against Washington, at home against Buffalo, at San Francisco, at home against Miami, at New England, at home against the Colts. They play the Jets and Seahawks at home. They are at your Arizona Cardinals, and they are at home against the Rams. Anything that I didn't mention were division games.
Yeah.
It's a pretty solid slate. I wouldn't say that it's unbearable, but it's a solid slate. They're playing the AFC East, obviously. And where do you have them? Over under 7.5?
I have them at over 7.5. That out of division schedule sounds a little daunting at first, but towards the back half of the season, it definitely softens up quite a bit. And yeah, I'm a fan of what the Falcons did in the offseason, obviously adding 2 edge rushers in the first round of the draft with James Pierce and Jalen Walker.
They were down near the bottom of the National Football League on pass rush.
Yeah. So that was a much needed addition.
Pressure on. Forget the sacks. They weren't putting pressure on anyone.
Yeah. So that was much needed. And yeah, I like the quarterback situation. I know it's not ideal with the contract with Kirk Cousins, but being able to fall back on a veteran quarterback like him if things aren't working out is always good. So I think they'll get that 8th win. I think they'll go over 7.5.
I do too. I think they're going to be competing with the Buccaneers, and a dark horse, if you want one, is I'll be interested to see how the Carolina Panthers carry their momentum over into 2025. I'm not ready to put my neck out on a limb and say that they're going to go on and win the division, but they've got a gettable number. We'll talk about them next. I want to say if I'm taking the Falcons, and that's why I like this bet quite a bit. So you're saying you need to get 8 wins in 17 games. I think there's a strong possibility that they could be flirting with 10 wins.
I don't hate that. Yeah.
And probably 9's more realistic. 9 and 8 might win you that division.
It could. It very well could.
And that's no knock against any team in that division. They're just they're not. You've got 2 teams and possibly a third one that could be pretty good football teams.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Saints are going to be very good. But
I think we can rule them out pretty early.
I think they're in the middle of growing pains. They didn't really have they didn't go all in on a quarterback.
Yeah.
They waited, and they might be waiting to play around with the quarterback idea for 2026, which is a good draft class. Bobby follows the NFL draft quite a bit. Are you still doing your videos for the?
I'm not much anymore. Obviously, with the new addition to the family, it takes up a lot of my time. I still follow the draft very closely. I just don't don't quite have the time at the moment for the
Okay.
videos on top of it.
Well, maybe we can figure stuff out about that down the road. And,
Sure, yeah.
But anyways, Bobby does follow the draft very closely, and this upcoming 2026 quarterback draft is supposed to be a really good one.
Mm.
So I think we're in agreement. I'm saying 10 wins. How many wins do you have for him?
I think 8 or 9. I would say. I think it'll be they'll stay in the
So
hunt
if
to win
you
the
were
division.
getting plus money on 10, you would bang the under.
Yeah. I'm not going as high as 10. I think 9's realistic, but I would say the safe bet at 8 or at 7.5. I know you're getting only
Well, yeah.
minus 130
I'm
odds,
just saying
but
I guess when I'm laying these out, what I'm
Mhm.
saying is I'm telling the people, because it's easy for us to say over 7.5 and move on. But the other idea that I think fans might be out there thinking about is, well, how close is it going to be? Am I taking them and I'm going into the final season and they're nothing burger games and I'm pulling for their third string quarterback because Kirk Cousins has already been traded to drive the field and win my money. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. All right. So we'll move on from the Falcons. The next team we'll do, let's go ahead and do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
They are probably perceived, if they're not the division favorites, then they're neck and neck with the Falcons, right?
Mm.
And what I've got with the Bucs, and this tells you that they much more believe in Tampa Bay, and some of that might have to do with the fact of the quarterback stability. You do wonder if losing their offensive coordinator to Jacksonville as the head coach, does that hurt them at all? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe that Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback, but maybe that's more of a fantasy football question than it is an actual wins and losses question. But you got to figure there's going to be some hit taken when you're losing the guy that orchestrated that offense for the last few years, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, losing Cohen, that's a tough loss. But they still have the core of that offense with Baker Mayfield, of course, a quarterback. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin are still around. And then they added Emeka Egbuka, and I really like that pick. I think he's gonna do great for the Bucs. I think him and Mike Evans paired together, at least for the time while Godwin's out, I think that's gonna be huge. I know Tristan Wirfs, he's been dealing with some injury problems, but he'll probably be back a few games into the season. That defense, of course, we know how good that is. So I think 9.5. I'm going to go over as well on them. I think they're going to hit double digits wins this season.
So you definitely have them winning the division then, because if you're saying you're kind of on the fence with Atlanta, getting to 10, but you definitely have them winning 10.
Mm-hmm.
And real quick with Tampa Bay, I'm just going to hit what Tampa Bay is going to be dealing with as far as obstacles in their schedule. Obviously, they're playing their divisional opponents, but you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you look at the schedule that they have coming back. Now, granted, they did lose their offensive coordinator, but they return essentially the same team.
Yeah.
Obviously, every team has attrition over the year, but you look at the big ones, other than the fact that I do want to point out that first game of the season is huge in that division.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucs are at Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that's big on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare you get that, and I don't even like it, to be honest with you. This is the equivalent to me of like opening day, put the Braves up against the Phillies. What are you doing, right?
Yeah.
Like let teams kind of get their feet wet. But that's how they're doing it. Now, outside of that, the stumbling blocks. They are at Houston the following week on a Monday night. But more importantly, they host the Eagles on September 28th on a Sunday at home. I mean, at a 1 o'clock. They are at Seattle the following week and then host the 49ers. That's kind of a tough 3-game stretch. Not sure what Seattle's going to have this year, but they did. A lot of folks aren't going to like this, but I felt like they improved the quarterback room. I still think that the Raiders took a huge gamble on Geno because he seems like he's going downhill.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see if he can be rejuvenated, because I do like the coaching staff in Vegas. But outside of that, they are at Detroit right after that. So that is a 4-game stretch where we'll even take Seattle out of it, but you've got Philly, San Fran, and Detroit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
those are some tough teams to go up against, especially in a row. And I think there could be some value at around like the middle of the season mark, or maybe a little bit earlier, of seeing
right.
what the line is for, or what the line is for the season win total at that point in the season, and maybe going with the over then, because you might get a better number at that point. You might get 8.5 or 9.5, or it's already at 9.5, but you might get like 8.5 or something, maybe even lower.
Yeah, I think that. And by the way, right after that, they host New England and go to Buffalo and go to the Rams.
Yeah.
So they have stretches in their schedule where it's kind of difficult. I felt like that the Atlanta Falcons schedule we just went over was a little laid out a little more evenly.
Yeah.
They play division games in bunches, and then they play the outer division games. And of course, because they went to the playoffs last year, their schedule's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Well, and fortunately for these two teams at the top that we think are going to be at the top of the NFC South, they get to play the Panthers and Saints twice a year. So that's definitely a big boost to their win total.
Yeah, all in all, I think you're talking about a team that's going to be teetering right there on the over under on the 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much even money. It's minus 105 over, minus 115 under. So there's a slight edge to the under number, but not much to write home about.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably a stay away for me, but if I was going to grab it one way or the other, though my heart tells me, hey, Tampa Bay's probably going to find a way to do it, I would probably lean the under, just because, once again, I think 9 wins may win this division.
That's true.
And if they get to the end of the season and they're at home against Carolina and they don't need that win, and Carolina's still trying to improve because they've got nothing to lose at that point, that's going to be a tough one.
That's true.
I will say this: they've got an easy stretch the back half.
Yeah.
They're at home against New Orleans. They get Atlanta again. They're at Carolina, at Miami, and they get Carolina again.
Ooh.
Little odd that they stack all those games together like that, but that's what they're doing.
Well, if we think the Falcons are going to hang around to be as competitive as they are, I think that works out well for the over with the Bucs too, because it'll force them to kind of play hard in that Week 18 game against Carolina.
Unless Michael Penix goes down and Kirk Cousins is out there throwing interceptions left and right in the next minute. All right. But yeah, I can see that. I can see that. What I'm a little more interested in the overall numbers is, and we'll get to that in a second, but to win the division and to go to the playoffs. All right. The next one that we have, we'll go ahead and tackle the Carolina Panthers. Are over under 6.5, but minus 140 on the over, plus 100 on the under. Where do you like this?
I'm leaning the under here. I assume it's 6.5, right, for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under with them. It's still, when I look at that team top to bottom, it's still a pretty poor team overall. I do like how Bryce Young played towards the back half of last season, and I know you mentioned carrying that momentum over into this season. I think there might be a little bit of carryover there, but ultimately this team just isn't a very good team. And I'm not too over the moon with what they did this offseason. I think McMillan's solid, but I don't think he takes that receiver room to the next level. And yeah, it's just overall, I'm looking at it top to bottom. It's just not a very strong team. And I like what I saw from Bryce Young. He's definitely turned it around from where he was at getting benched to where he is now. But I don't think it'll be enough to hit that over mark for them this season.
I think the offense is going to be a little more exciting.
Yeah.
For the Panthers. There's some upside that I can see much more in a fantasy football type of deal, because they're going to put up points. My question is, what is the defense going to do? Yeah. And has Bryce Young truly turned the corner, or was it just a flash in the pan? That remains to be seen. But I will say this. I felt like when I saw him down the stretch last year, it was a much better version of a quarterback than I thought he was ever going to be. Because when he first came into the league, and a lot of it has to do with his size, I thought he was being overwhelmed, and maybe he just wasn't coached well in that first year. But I felt like he became last year one of the better young quarterback prospects. He hasn't quite kicked the door through. One of the better young quarterback prospects that you could make arguments on other quarterbacks that may be a touch older or younger on whether or not you would set your franchise with him or others. And there's a lot of people that would pick him over guys that some folks may be surprised by, just because his decision making became much better, became much more accurate. And some of that, I'm sure, was just getting used to the game.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. And it came as a shock to me because, you know, when he got benched early in the season last year, I thought it was going to be, you know, at this point we're going to be talking about him as one of the biggest busts in NFL history. But and especially because of the factors of being something that he can't control. He's not a big quarterback at all. He doesn't have a lot of crazy athletic tools or anything, and he's just a smaller quarterback. So I thought this was something that you couldn't coach us out of him. This is something that's kind of, it's just inherent to who he is. But yeah, he really got better as the season went on when he got that starting job back. And he never gave it back after that. And yeah, here we are talking about him as I wouldn't say one of the better young quarterbacks in the league, but a decent one, and one that has a little
I
bit of
think he's
promise.
someone that if he were on my team, I would be excited about the 2025 season.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be going, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah.
Will Levis, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he is a guy that I'm like, I'll tell you something else that I thought that he improved drastically with too, willing to take off and run. Because he wasn't doing that in the beginning of his career. And he doesn't have elite speed, but he's crafty, and he can actually get down the field. And if you can do that and put pressure on the defense, then everything else starts opening up. And I thought that they did a great job in the draft, getting him more weapons. And Chuba Hubbard is once again going to be one of those workhorses. And I just thought, I think across the board, the offense is going to be fun, but 6.5 wins. I'm with you. It's plus money.
Yeah.
The question is, if I'm taking Atlanta to win more than 7.5 and Tampa to be right there at that 9-win mark.
Yeah.
If I take Carolina to go over, then I'm telling you that the Saints are going to win like 2 games.
Yeah. Well, and you're also counting on the Panthers to win a bunch of out of division games, which I'm not sure is all too likely.
Yeah, and they would have to get to 7-10. I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to take the over.
There you go.
I think they get to 7 wins.
Okay.
I think it's going to be like a 3 teams going down the back stretch, going 3 wide in the corner. And I don't think they come out as the division winner, but I can see them with 7 wins. I can see the Falcons with 8 or more, and I can see the Tampa Bay Bucks somewhere around the 8-9 win mark.
Yeah.
And they're all going to make each other's lives a living hell.
Well, you mentioned the Saints having to win about 2 games for that to be possible, or for it to be just probable at least. And I could see that as a good possibility too. I think the Saints are going to be a punching bag this year for just about every team they play.
By the way, their over/under is 5.5, so we can dive into them as well.
I'm happy to go ahead and get right into it. And with what I'm saying, I think you can gather that I'm taking the under here. I think 5.5 is way too high for them. I would even go under 4.5. It's a poor team. They're in a tough situation with Derek Carr's late retirement. So they're stuck with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, who I'm not totally opposed to seeing how that goes, but I don't have a whole lot.
Tyler Schaff, who I think is actually going to get the win. I think he's going to be the starter when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think.
But at the beginning, you're right. It's going to be Rattler.
Yeah, I think that they, given the position they drafted him in, it's possible that he ends up starting this season. But I don't have a whole lot of faith in him as a player, and truthfully, that team as a whole is it's poor. Both of their tackles as well are really young guys that were drafted in the last couple of years. Poor quarterback situation. I hope
they don't come out playing well because they're at home against Arizona in week 1.
Yeah, if we lose that game, I'm yeah, you'll be hearing me yelling about firing everybody at that point. So I can see the
NFL,
Saints.
usually most of these games come down to one possession, so don't keep your head out of the oven just in case
I know.
you lose the game and it's not the end of the world.
I'll try not to be too reactionary. So, but I think
I
the
will
Saints
try to
have,
be the exact opposite.
yeah. I think the Saints have a good possibility though of getting the number 1 pick next year and being the worst team in the NFL. So I don't hate picking 3 teams to go over this year in the NFC South. Because it would mean
one
the
step
Saints
you're
are,
going under.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that 5.5 is mainly because you don't get them much higher. I don't know if I've ever seen a 4.5 since they've expanded the.
Yeah.
So 5.5, that just tells you that they believe they're one of the worst teams in football.
And I think they're right.
And man, I'm looking at their schedule. I don't see a lot of wins. I really don't. And I know they're going to win some games because every NFL team does.
Sure.
It'll probably be at the Titans in week 17. You just look at it week in and week out. Spencer Rattler, he showed flashes last year from time, but he's not it.
No.
I do think Tyler Schaff is going to be a viable starter this year. I don't think he's necessarily the future of the franchise, but he's a guy that you can bring in, see what he's got, and then you'll be ready for the draft next year, and you'll probably get one of the top picks.
Yeah. Well, and I know he's a rookie, but he's pretty much already in his athletic prime because he's about 26. So.
And realistically, that's all you need because, first of all, you didn't draft him in the first round, so you're not paying him big money.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can use him for the duration of his rookie contract and still draft someone next year and just have a competition. And if nothing else, you might have yourself a good backup.
There you go.
That's not really the case in Tennessee, as we'll go to the AFC South now.
Yeah.
I think Will Levis is a mental patient, and you're going to have to cut ties with him altogether.
Yeah.
I think he read his own paper. He read his own newspaper clippings early in his career, and he thinks he's better than what he is. And it's really odd that he went and decided to have the surgery this late into the summer when he knew damn good and well he should have had it back in January.
Yeah. Well, I think he should have known that he wasn't going to hold that starting job come September this year. That should have been obvious to him. And yeah, he really screwed that. And I think he's probably suited up for the Titans for the last time. I think that's fair to say.
Imagine you bring him back next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's
and
where he's done.
I'll tell you what else that does for him personally. It puts a sour taste in the mouth of general managers that are like, I don't know, do I want to bring this guy into my team?
Yeah.
He doesn't really appear to be out for the team. And I get it. It's a business and the guys need to make their money and they need to make the best business decisions. I get that. But you also have to keep in mind with who you're playing with, who you're playing for. And when it's all said and done, he's just not someone that I think is going to be signable. Someone will give him a chance in the back of a rookie, in the back of a summer camp next year.
Yeah.
But it'll be someone who's extremely desperate.
Yeah. Well, and I think with what you look for in a backup quarterback is some stability, a guy that can just go out there, make the right decisions, manage games, and just get through tough stretches. Will Levis is not the guy who can do that. He's a guy who's prone to making mistakes over and over and over. So I don't think he's a very viable backup quarterback. You look for someone who, who's not going to go out there and get sacked and fling up a ball into triple coverage and throw a pick six. So
when one of our country club members, I'm just seeing these comments, says he's listening to the show and goes, I'm hiding in my office away from these idiot engineers who can't even design a circle. John agrees. He says hammer the Aints at 5.5 on the under. Yeah, I just don't see that. And this is like the fifth time that Peter keeps bringing up she wants a last place trophy. So if you have any dog crap that you want to put in an envelope to mail her direction, go ahead and do it. I mean, first of all, we have one trophy and we keep it, and that's the whole point of it. It's like a Stanley Cup type of thing. But we don't mail out trophies. But if we were damn sure ain't going to mail out the 8th place trophy. That's going to be what we might start doing next. Maybe we'll do it next year. Is it the team that ends up in 8th has to do something embarrassing?
I like that.
I gotta think that out, and maybe we'll have that going by next year because we didn't mention it this year, so I'm not gonna throw that on something. But let's just assume that it's going to be PETA again. All right, so the Tennessee Titans, their over unders 5.5.
Yeah,
and we just trashed the hell out of them, or at least we trashed the hell out of their backup quarterback that's not going to play because he had arm surgery.
Yeah,
I think that's a little low. I don't see them being the Saints. They're not going to be in the playoff picture.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give Cam Ward, even though he's a dirty Miami Hurricane, I'm willing to give Cam Ward the benefit of the doubt because he did have a very good final year at Miami. I get it. He was playing in a down ACC year, and they spent a lot of money on that offensive line. So he basically sat back there and ate sandwiches and tossed the ball around all year long.
Yep.
But he was impressive too. Like I actually called a couple of the Hurricane games. I called the upset with Georgia Tech, but I called a couple of Hurricane games, and watching play after play after play, I was like, man, this guy's actually pretty damn good. He really is.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. The only problem I have with him is that he's coming into a situation in Tennessee that's vastly different from the comfort he had behind that Miami offensive line.
I'm worried about the line. How many mistakes is he going to make when they're just sitting on his head all day long?
Yeah, and that's tough to call because you didn't see a whole lot of that last year with him at Miami. So that's kind of a hard one to get a read on. 5.5.
By the way, they happen to play at Tampa this weekend and at Atlanta. Two of their preseason games are against teams in the NFC South.
Okay. Well,
and then the one that nobody watches, the final one, they're at home in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's a tough one at 5.5. I think this is the toughest one I've had so far.
I think I'm going with the over.
Yeah.
The only reason why I say that, I'm not convinced that the rest of the division's that damn good and that they can't sneak a couple of wins there.
Yeah.
And then you look at the rest of their schedule. There are winnable games in that schedule. They do play Cleveland.
Yeah.
They do play the Saints in the regular season, and it's in Tennessee.
W,
baby. That's a W.
Boom,
Should be. Boom. That's a W. Where's the other one? There was another one that was kind of, the Colts at home, and the Colts on the road, they probably split that.
Yeah, I would assume.
You've got, I don't know what the Raiders are going to be this year. They're huge question mark, but that's a game they could upset.
Yeah.
They're at home against New England. That's probably not going to turn out well. Vrabel coming back and just mashing them.
Yeah.
Teach them a thing or two about a thing or two. They do have a tough stretch down the back stretch at San Francisco, Kansas City. They do get the Saints, and they're at Jacksonville. If Jacksonville's in the hunt, that's going to be a tough win. But 6 to me is not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I can see them picking up
too.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
They get Seattle at home too, so a lot of the games that they could win happen to be in Nashville.
Yeah, that's huge for them. I'm gonna agree with you at over 5.5, but I think they just barely squeak over that at 6 wins. I think I can count on them to get a couple wins in the division. I think they'll split with the Colts, and I think they'll probably split with the Jaguars. And I don't know if they'll pick up a win over the Texans, but after that, they just need 4 more. Like you said, they got the Saints. They got the Seahawks at home. I think it's very possible that they get right over 5.5.
Yeah, I'm seeing 6. I would be in. Look, Honest Engine, it's -140. So Vegas probably believes that they're probably going to get 6 as well.
I wouldn't test your luck and push it up to over 6.5. I wouldn't do that.
I would put a whole lot on it because Honest Engine, you kind of have to have everything go right.
Yes.
Cam Ward gets injured,
It's toast.
yeah.
Yeah, they'll be looking at Saints territory there.
Yeah, you're looking at big time problems.
Yeah.
And I do like the fact that, and I've never been big on him in fantasy, and once again won't be big on him again, but Tyler Lockett coming in, veteran wide receiver, I think that helps quite a bit.
Yeah.
They still have Ridley. And honestly, it's a team that I think is going to be pretty darn good as far as being on the offensive end. I think they're going to be exciting.
Yeah.
They do have options if receivers get injured, because they also have two very viable running backs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I think drafting a quarterback number 1 overall, that injects a lot of life into the offense. I think the offense will look a lot stronger than it did last year for sure.
But if people are wondering where do they go after that, if Ward goes down, Brandon Allen,
Tim Boyle.
And Tim Boyle. The Tim Boyle era will begin once again. And if people haven't seen Tim Boyle play quarterback, it's essentially having a punter under center. So keeping Cam Ward healthy is going to be critical. That's why it's probably a stay away for me.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that they did bring Van Jefferson in.
Yeah. Well, and they also signed Dan Moore, the left tackle from the Steelers. So they're definitely investing in trying to protect Cam Ward. So I'll give them that.
Yeah, but it's going to be a slow build. You can't fix an offensive line in one off.
Yeah.
I've never seen it done. I've seen good offensive lines improve and go over that next step, but when it's as bad as it was last year, it's just impossible to fix it in one.
I'm just gonna have to hope you can get league average at least.
All right, let's go into the Jacksonville Jaguars. 7.5 is their over under. -110 both ways. We're going to have to speed this up a little bit so we can get to it.
Yeah.
I like the Jaguars on the over.
I'm with you there. I like their
I like them.
I
feel much more confident in that than I do the Titans on the over.
Yes, I'm with you on that. I like what they did hiring Liam Cohen as the head coach. I like what they did trading up, getting Travis. I like the Travis Hunter addition for both offense and defense, of course. And they made some good offseason acquisitions in free agency. So they added some decent players. So I think I think with
themselves too that Travis Hunter is going to play offense and defense.
You said what?
I said they've got to quit kidding themselves, telling everybody that he's going to play both offense and defense.
Yeah.
You can't have a guy playing the National Football League 90 snaps. He's going to die.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, you can't count on him to be like a part-time cornerback. It just doesn't work like that in the NFL. You can't be playing.
I think you can put him in dime packages and more specifically prevent defense, right? And into the game. Hail Marys, because if he picks it off, look out, he could go the other way. But it cannot be a regular thing. It's just got to be a promo that they give him maybe 5 to 8 snaps a game. Yeah,
you cannot count on him to be an outside cornerback. It's just you can't.
And obviously running down, because you don't want him to have to make a business decision on whether or not he's going to take down Alvin Kamara in the open field.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I don't think he's going to play a whole lot of cornerback, contrary to what people may be saying. So I think it'll be just an offensive addition. Like you said, maybe he'll play nickelback here and there. He'll get on the field once in a while. Could be some prevent defense situations. But I think that's more of an addition for the offense. And I think it's a great one too. I think that's going to, with the new offensive minded head coach, and of course adding Travis Hunter. They also added D'Ami Brown. Anton Harrison, I think he's going into his second year, so he's only going to get a little bit better. I think that offense has quite a bit of talent, and I think they're going to go over 7.5 here.
And the backfield, honestly, is going to be interesting. I don't know if you're going to have a true workhorse, but you got ETN and Bigsby, and now you got Tootin, and you've got a receiving core that, if he pans out the way we think Travis Hunter is going to pan out, Thomas and Hunter could be one of the best combos that we've seen in quite a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be.
D'Ami Brown has got some great upside as well.
Yeah,
I don't want to skate past him.
He had some flashes towards the end of the year last year for the Commanders.
Yeah, And
So,
so I think he's an interesting play. And the offense, they're going to score points.
absolutely.
The question would be, well, what will the defense do? The biggest thing they need to make sure is to keep Travis Hunter off the field over there. But outside of that, it's a new regime. I like the over.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, I like the Colts, or I like the Jags this year.
Colts are over under 7.5, pretty much even money.
Under.
I think it's under.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't think they're going to be terrible. I don't think they're going to be like unwinnable games, but I see 5-6 wins. I don't know how you get to 8.
I see 4 or 5. I'm really low on the Colts this year. And look, man, I hate to say it, but
I should give them a better chance if Daniel Jones is their starting quarterback.
I was getting ready to say that. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of faith in Anthony Richardson. I'm sorry. I know, Florida Gator fan here, but my allegiances are out the window right now. Being unbiased, this is people's money we're talking about.
Well, he can't.
I'm not betting on Anthony Richardson. I'm not doing it.
He can't stay healthy,
Yeah.
and unless he changes his entire style, he won't stay healthy.
Yeah.
If he changes his entire style, which is what we talked about this when he first got drafted, if he changes his entire style, then he's not really worth having because he's not accurate as a passer.
Actually,
And
absolutely.
he makes some really dumb decisions.
Yes.
So he's more of a guy that you want. He's kind of a more athletic version of Tebow. He's someone you want running the ball, right?
Yeah. Well,
But
he has kind of the athletic traits of Josh Allen. He just does not have the accuracy or the consistency or the decision making of Josh Allen.
That's what I'm saying. He's Tebow.
Yeah, there you go.
He's stronger arm and everything, but stronger arm doesn't help you if the ball's going to hit the sideline. It doesn't matter how fast it's thrown,
or if you're lobbing it up to a defender. Either way,
right? A pick six doesn't help you because it was thrown a little harder than the last guy. All right, and then the last one, the division, Houston Texans 9.5.
Wow. Okay.
I'm
going head to head with you on this one. I think CJ Stroud, he'll get out of that little sophomore slump he had. Their defense is loaded. They have a great defense, and I like what they did. They added some receivers. I know they got Jaden Higgins in round 2. I think they added someone else this offseason, a receiver. And they're playing in a pretty poor division. I think they're going to pick up wins over all 3 teams. I think they're going to at least split with the Titans. They'll at least split with the Jaguars, and I think they'll probably sweep the Colts. So that's that right there. You're banking for 5 wins.
Okay, but you can say that about the other 2 teams, that they'll split. I'm talking about the Jags and the Titans. They'll split and they'll split.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they could sweep the Colts.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So,
well, I don't know if the Titans could sweep the Colts, but
probably not. I can see the Jaguars doing it though.
And I'm not saying that Houston can't win the division. I'm saying they're not going to get to 10 wins to do it.
I do think it's.
I'm saying 9-8 probably wins that division.
I think it's the same as the NFC South, like you mentioned. 9 wins could win the division for anybody here. It's not a very, very great division, or not a very top-heavy division at least. So I could see 9 being enough for the Texans to win this division.
It's torn between the Titans and the Falcons this year since Bama doesn't have a team. Tighten up, baby! You got to tighten up.
Yeah,
let's go. Always bring someone else into our misery.
Yeah, well, there's some excitement with Cam Ward. Who knows what the ceiling could be there? It could be fun.
Look on the bright side. If you got to pick one of those teams, would you rather go visit downtown Atlanta or downtown Nashville?
You make a good point, my friend.
Because you're not going to the Battery in Atlanta to watch the Braves. It's a different world. You got to go downtown Atlanta and hang out down there, do a whole lot of nothing, or you're going to go to downtown Nashville and scoot and boogie up and down the bar scene.
There you go.
I'm telling you. I can tell you because I've been to both. I've lived around both. You want to be around the Nashville women, not the Atlanta women.
Oh,
because the Atlanta women are going to be taking their earrings off. Things about to get ugly. Nashville women, boot, scoot, and boogie. Let's go. All right, so that does it for that. Real quick, I want to hit the divisions before we run out of time. And I pulled it up. Where is it at? Here we go. All right. Now I'm talking strictly from the money standpoint of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best bet. We'll start with the NFC South. Oh, Colts. We didn't hit the Colts. Colts 7.5 over under.
Under,
Yeah.
All
Or maybe we did hit the Colts. I don't know.
I think we did. I think
You
we
know,
did because we were talking about Richardson being not
we
very
got
good.
figure 8 through the AFC. But if you ever watch our show, this is kind of what we do. I take full responsibility. All right, NFC South, Buccaneers plus 100 to win the division. Falcons plus 220 to 240, depending on what book. Panthers plus 380 to plus 450, and then the Saints a plus 750. Some books are as good as plus 1200. If I'm going to give you $100 to bet that division, where are you going?
Can I split it up, or am I going all in on one thing?
You're going all in.
Bucks. Got to go with the Bucks here. If I can double my money with the Bucks, I think I'm taking that. I think the Falcons will hang around, and I think they'll keep it close till the end of the season. But I think ultimately, I think that Bucks team has too much talent to go against them here.
I think you're probably right, but the riverboat gambler in me is going to take the Falcons plus 220, because if I can take my 100 and turn it into 220, especially if I can get it to 240, that's going to be it's going to be really difficult to. Now, if you're going to split your money up, you put 50 and 50, so you at least get your money back because not much of a chance the Panthers win the division. So let's say you put 500, put 50 down. You're going to win your money back if the Bucks win, but if the Falcons win, you're going to be in plus money.
You're giving me ideas now. I might go do that.
This is what we're here for. Sometimes I come up with a good idea every once in a while. What's not a good idea is me getting up this early right after doing a game the night before, but that's is what it is. All right, AFC South.
Yeah,
now this one might be a little more intriguing for you. Texans are plus 120, so just over even money.
Yep.
The Jaguars, they're saying between plus 290 to plus 333. The Colts plus 300 to plus 360. I mean, if you're going to do that, just go ahead and mail your money to me, because you're throwing your money away.
Yeah, I'll take it.
And the Titans have the longest odds at about plus 800. I give you 100. Give you 100 to drop it. You're going to double your money, and actually a little more. You'd win. What, you turn 100 into 220?
220, yeah.
Or you go to Jaguars to take 100 and turn it into, what is that, 390 total? Even 433. If you, I bet the plus 33 is hard to find.
I think the Texans are going to win the division. However, that 390 you're getting back on that Jags bet is really tempting. And I'm looking at when you hear that number, and then you start thinking, they added Travis Hunter. They have an offensive-minded coach.
Now, this is a division, when you're talking about splitting the 50-50, I believe this is a very smart division to do that in with the Jags and the Texans, because they are overvaluing, for whatever reason, the Colts.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I don't think the Colts can win the division. I don't think the Titans can win the division.
I'm with
I think
you.
you're talking about a two-team race. Probably the Texans, if we're being honest. But you're gonna make money no matter how you do it.
Yeah, because even if you split it 50-50, you're getting 110 back on
right
Texans. So you're making at least $10, assuming one of those two teams win.
And when it's all said and done, when you're talking about football gambling, the only thing that matters is, did you win the money? That's it.
Right.
At the end of it all, if you have to hedge your bet, did you come out plus money? And that's what we're going for. Real quick, fantasy football. We won't hammer this too much because I want to keep this under an hour so you can get going. We'll do this a couple of minutes. But real quick, give me a couple of guys that you're staying away from fantasy football. Jeff, we'll just do two this week.
Okay. Number one.
Because they're ADP. So before people flip out and he says something like let's say if you say, I'm staying away from Saquon Barkley. Yeah. It's not that you think he sucks. It's that you think that he won't duplicate.
If he's there in round 2, by all means take him. But yeah,
he's there in round 2. Can I play in your league?
That's what we're getting at. So my first guy with that, I'm going to go Puka Nacua here. I don't know if you've heard some of the quotes that's been coming out of Sean McVay's mouth about the Matt Stafford situation and his back injury. It doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of confidence on how reliable Matt Stafford's going to be this year. And Jimmy G is a big step down from Matt Stafford. I also think Devonta Adams coming in, I think he's really well suited to that Sean McVay offense. So I think he's going to take away quite a bit of targets from Puka here. So I think he's being a little overvalued in fantasy. Then my second one, I'm going to go with Tyreek. Actually, I'll save him for next. No, I've already mentioned his name, Tyreek Hill. There you go. I'll just go ahead and I'll stick with it. I'll use my other two next week. Tyreek Hill, though, Jalen Waddle, he's really starting to emerge as potentially the wide receiver one of that offense this upcoming season. And also, I think with last year, some of the quotes that came out about him not wanting to even be with the Dolphins,
Yeah,
with the way he's behaving.
I'm kind of surprised how quickly that quieted down.
Yeah. Well, with how volatile he's being, it's kind of reminiscent of Antonio Brown.
Nobody knows that.
What?
He's a mental patient. He's basically Antonio Brown 2.0.
That's exactly what I was getting to. This is all reminiscent of Antonio Brown. So
he's this far away from getting into it with a U-Haul driver. I'm telling you,
he's Avonte's perfect hit away from it happening.
Right.
So there you go. But yeah, I think this Tyreek Hill situation is a little bit it's very volatile. Him even wanting to play with the Dolphins, and I think Jalen Waddle's only getting better, and I think he could seize that wide receiver one position this year. So those are my two guys I'm staying away from, or not staying away from, but I'm not drafting where their ADP has them at. Puka.
Yeah, I've been doing a ton of best ball, and I think I've got Puka in one just because you want to make sure you have some shares.
Yeah.
To me, it's more the fact of the addition of Adams.
I hear it.
Although he is 32 years old, so off the jump, I'm kind of staying away from Devontae Adams because he's going to have to work in with the new quarterback, and he is 32, and he's got Puka Nacua over there. I believe there's going to be weeks. Even we'll say if Stafford stays healthy, there's going to be weeks where you're going to be like, "Damn it, that was my second round, third round pick.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything."
Yeah.
Now you're going to be saying that about Puka from time to time too, but
absolutely.
That's one of my reasons for staying away from him. And the other guy that I'll give you this week, I believe that Zay Flowers is being drafted just a little too high. Because you look at some of the additions that they made to that receiving core, and though Lamar Jackson had a great season last year, are they going to continue to throw as much? And will they just focus on Zay Flowers when you got you got the addition of Hopkins? And what are they going to do with the tight end position? Although I still feel like Andrews is always going to be the one he looks for around the end zone. But Isaiah is likely to get more targets this year.
Especially after I think he got just extended his contract. So
it's not me not liking Zay Flowers as a player. I just don't like the way he fits into that offense. To be drafted where he's at number 51 overall, that seems extremely high to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Great. They're not first round pick is what you're talking about.
Yeah. Two good tight ends. D-Hop, like you mentioned, Derrick Henry in the backfield. It's tough for him to fit in that equation.
All right, what is your walk-off? We got a jam.
My walk-off, just enjoy preseason football coming back around. Enjoy watching your team. Some of your rookies get out there and get to hit the field for the first time, and football will be back soon.
My walk-off is Braves Country today, noon Eastern, as we begin the series. Braves Marlins, and we got some big news, historical news for the Braves Marlins series. It's got nothing to do with who's going to be playing in the game, but we're going to break sports history. So we'll see you at the top of noontime. We'll see you at lunchtime. Great job, Bobby. We'll see you next Thursday, 9 a.m.
Well, the season's finally here, and the players.
Hey, football fans, you ready for the gridiron? Thursday and Friday mornings, the Armchair Quarterback Show returns, 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll be talking college and NFL football, the point spreads, fantasy football advice, and more. Want to catch it live? Become a Country Club member today here on Braves Country Radio. We'll make the replay available to the public later on that day as we're being broadcasted nationwide on independent radio stations. As a member catching it live, you can ask your questions. We'll answer all. Point spread advice, player props, your fantasy football questions. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show. Thursday and Friday mornings this fall here on Braves Country Radio.